Welcome to the 2023 Guatemala Open Downhill here at Bike Park Kai Hala in the beautiful Valle de la Ermita. The features are big, the tech is gnarly, and the beauty of Guatemala City provides an incredible backdrop for what adds another exciting round of racing to Central America's rapidly growing scene. Racers have come from all over North and South America to battle it out right here, and this pro track is a true test to contend with. I'm your host, Rich Moore with the Gravity Co-op, and we're here to bring you along for all of the action. And I've got to tell you, this event, it's a vibe. Year one for this event, and Bike Park Kai Hala has delivered. In only 200 meters of vertical, this track packs some serious punch. Smoking fast jump sections, tricky off camber, tight technical chutes, gnarly rock gardens, rhythm sections, and massive features. This course has it all, and there's a lot to unpack here. So let's take a look at what our riders can expect as they go up against the clock all the way to the finish line. Right out of the gate, the pace is blazing fast with our first section of jumps, including a couple of tabletops, a double, and our first drop feature. From there, you've got some off camber into the first brief but chunky rock garden section with lots of line options to pick from. A tight corner feeds into the next rock garden, which threads through a flatter section of pronounced rocks into a steep, chunky exit, punching right into a couple of compressions. Exiting out of there, you're back into some off camber with a couple of doubles in the mix before entering the next significant rock garden. This is the most sustained and technical section of the entire track. The entrance offers several line options feeding into a boulder choke that guards a steep right to left chute. There's a lot of ways our racers can approach this whole sequence, and this section is sure to be a huge separator. This is where you'll have to bring your A game with equal parts precision and confidence to have a chance at the podium. The slower technical rocks give way back into fast trail with more off camber into a rhythm section. As you exit the canopy and drop into the open hillside through a series of S-berms, the scenic backdrop of the city comes into view. These berms open up into some straightaways, and the jumps build in size all the way down the final steep hill, feeding into a huge 20-meter road gap. Riders touch down into a blinding fast final straightaway and cross into the finish. Yesterday's qualifying round was action-packed, and there was some really tight racing. Let's go check in with Will Washam to get a breakdown on our seating results.
Thank you, Rich. It's Will Washam here with Drew Hager, and we are excited to see these open women tackle the track here at the Guatemala Open Downhill. And we're looking right now at our seating results from Saturday. Shell Peugeot was in 4th place, the Canadian putting down a 3:21. Ari Soto was a 3:04 on seating day. She slotted into 3rd place. And Drew, it looked like a great run from Maria Jose Montoya Talavera, or as we know her, Majo Montoya. Is a 2:58 for Majo. How did she look?
That's right. Yeah, she looked very good on the bike. It's always fun to see her ride because she's such a small human being, but she puts a lot of power behind that bike when she's going for the time.
Yeah, and speaking of the time, look at the time of our top-seeded rider, Valentina Roa Sanchez for Transition Factory Racing. The Colombian was out front by 20 seconds in seating at 2:37.72. So Roa Sanchez, the class of the field here in seating, but now it's all to play for as we go racing for finals of the Open Women's Downhill. And Rochelle Peugeot will start us off. Shell riding for Propane USA. The Canadian looking to improve that time today from seating as she gets us going. Love the look of this course right off the top. And Drew, there's a ton of technical features for Shell and these racers to navigate.
That's true, yeah, right out of those flowy jumps, straight into some no-holds-barred technical rock sections. And this chute that you're seeing right now is every bit as steep as it looks on camera.
Yeah, looks like riders are going to be hanging off the back all afternoon there. We're going to get a couple more camera angles of that as we move along through the women's race. Shell's going to wrap up her run right here with this huge finish feature. And I like to think she's going to be able to drop some time down from yesterday's 3:21 in seeding. Shell's going to cross the line and put down a great time. It's a 2:51.51, so that would have been good enough for second place. 7 seconds ahead of Majo Montoya. Shell waves to the camera. Drew, what'd you see in the chute?
Well, you see there how loose it is on her back wheel. She loses a little bit of traction there, but you kind of need to get that bike turned around and pointed into the next turn.
A super tight section. And you know, Ari Soto, our next rider, she's going to be able to really whip it on those tight sections. She's on the Enduro bike. Came down here on a filming trip to Guatemala. Decided to give the Guatemalan Open a go. Oh, and you can see she's got plenty of style there on the top jumps. Soto's been doing some racing for the Colorado Mesa University cycling team, a juggernaut of collegiate cycling. And she was in North Carolina, Drew, for the national championships just a month ago.
Yeah, back in October, collegiate nationals, and her team did super well, pretty commanding in dual slalom and gravity. Quite a few talented cross-country racers from that program as well, Will.
Yeah, the ladies from Colorado Mesa absolutely rip. You can see Soto navigating that treacherous section. And she's coming back into this whoop section. What would your rhythm be here, Drew? We got double, 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 double from Soto.
For my money, double, 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 double is the way to go because you don't have to worry about casing anything by pushing it too far. But you know what? If you really want to put some time on your competitors, I think you're going to have to figure that one out a little bit with different double math than I'm working with.
Well, it looks like Soto's in a nice groove. She got caught up just a little bit in that steep section, but was really building pace through those berms as Soto goes deep right there, caught by a crosswind. And she's going to go second. It's a 2:52.3, so she drops 12 seconds from her seeding run yesterday. Going to go just outside that time of Shell Peugeot. Dapping it up in the finish line. Let's take a look back at a replay, Drew.
Obviously, this trail bike is not holding her back at all. Having a nimble machine might really be kind of a benefit in some of these tight turns in the technical section.
Yep, made short work of that one right there. Great exit speed on the right-hander. As we look to Maria Jose Montoya Talavera, or Majo, as we affectionately know the Honduran in the southeast scene. She seeded second yesterday with a 2:58, hoping to drop a few seconds if she wants to take over the hot seat. And Drew, we've seen quite a bit of Majo Montoya down in the southeast.
That's right. She goes to college at Piedmont University in Georgia. So she also races collegiate for their program. And being Georgia-based in the United States, although she is Honduran, she's no stranger to our Southeast regional events.
Yeah, she had a couple podiums at venues like Rock Creek and Windrock. So some experience with tight, steep, technical downhill racing as Montoya points it down this crucial section. Almost gets off balance, but able to hold it together. We'll see what Montoya's got on this rhythm section coming up. On some good pedals there, Drew.
Yeah, hopping into that berm is definitely a way to keep the speed coming through that section. If you can see what's right above it, you realize that you got two maneuvers there. You can either hop in and try to pump through those jumps really good, but otherwise you're going to have to take a couple pedal strokes at it to keep that speed going.
Oh, very smooth right there on those back-to-back turns, and Montoya grabbing some more cranks off this massive drop. Majo Montoya, it was a 2:58 yesterday, and she's going to go 2:55. So 3 seconds back of Shell Peugeot. Peugeot putting down a heater here today for finals, and I didn't see much wrong with this here, Drew.
Not at all. Does take a little bit of a wider turn out of the exit, but she stayed on course right there, and I think that's as much as you could ask for. She's definitely wrestling with that bike.
Well, here is our fastest seated rider, Valentina Roa Sanchez, for Transition Factory. She had a big smile on her face because she has absolutely been crushing it in the 2023 downhill season. She took the overall title for the Junior World Cup this year with 2 wins at Leger and Mont Saint Anne.
That's right, Will. And Valentina hates losing. She is a very fierce competitor. What makes her a monster on tracks like this, where you have to keep speed and you have to be able to ride technical things at the same time.
And what a committed outside line she did to set up for that shoot. Completely to the outside over some huge rocks. So Roa Sanchez not afraid to take those committed options, Drew, as you said. Oh, and she's kicked out right there coming into the rhythm.
Nicely executed. Double, 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 double on that one.
Yeah, and she's flying the national championship stripes from Colombia. Oh, and just great timing, pumping in and out of those berms with a very high entrance. So it's going to be a tight one here. Shell Peugeot put down a great run. Valentina Roa Sanchez was the class of the field yesterday with a 2:37 in seating. Roa Sanchez, oh, she takes that time down by 3 seconds from seating for a 2:34 to take the win here at the Guatemala Open Downhill. It's a 17-second margin of victory. She says, hey, I'll take that, Drew, and hey, I would take that too on this gnarly track.
And who wasn't? That was not a vague win by any means. That was all business.
Yeah, we see Roa Sanchez picking apart this technical section, just eyes up, looking towards the exit of the turn. Does not get bobbled up right there into the right-hander. And what a great performance from Valentina Roa Sanchez. She will be your winner here for the Guatemala Open Downhill. Shell Peugeot in second, and Ari Soto will round out our podium in third place. Let's go hear from our winner.
I like the race. I feel so good. The track is incredible. This track is fast and more bumps. I like the rock gardens and jumps.
Well, we're taking a look at the seeding results for our Open Men's Top 10 after some incredible women's racing. And we got 2 Guatemalans here in our top 10. Hugo Martinez, seated in 10th place yesterday. It was a 2:24, just behind the time of Dylan Conti. Conti starts off 3 Americans in a row. Titus Nicholson in 8th place, Jack Peterson in 7th. And then we got another Guatemalan, Drew, Pablo Andres Aguilar Omodeo. I'm sure he's fired up to race today. What are those fans looking like out there?
The fans are insane out here.
Well, I know they're coming to see the man that's seated in 5th, Sebastian Holganvilla, one of the hottest young riders in South America. He will take to the start line just before Nico Malali, who pipped him by a couple tenths of a second in seating. It was a 2:17 for Nico, getting back to form after the rough season that he had this year in 2023. Your top 3, Camilo Sanchez Salazar, the Colombian, was a 2:16.08, less than 2 seconds behind Tyler Irvin, who's seated in 2nd. And the young ripper for Frameworks Racing, Asa Vermette, put down a scorching 2:12 yesterday in seating. How was Asa feeling after that run, Drew?
Oh, he was all smiles. He set a goal for himself. But, you know, are you surprised to see that he qualified so well, Will?
No, not after what we've seen this year from Vermette. Let's see if he can keep it going as we go racing here at the Guatemala Open. Jose Ernesto Quezada from Tortuga Factory Racing, the Guatemalan, will start us out. And Quezada, Drew, he's wasting no time getting up the pace and putting the moves on these technical sections.
Yep, and Will, you're going to see some different lines here than the women were taking. A lot of these guys are gapping over rocks, and you're going to see some up and over moves like this one right here.
Heck of a send for Quezada. Also going off that drop a little early, trying to carry extra pace. He's coming into these whoops with a nice head of steam and just your standard double-double, carrying as much speed as possible into that left-hander for Quezada. He's just got 2 corners before the finish. We'll see what he does here with the time. He was a 2:23 yesterday. as the Guatemalan, greeted by the fans here at the Guatemalan Open downhill. He'll break the beam with a 2:19. So Jose Ernesto Quezada putting down a good one. And Drew, we need to take a look at that line that he had in that steep and deep section, just sent it off the rock.
Here comes the setup. Into that pit there. Here's where it's crucial. As soon as you hit that red pad there, you have to be ready to make that turn. You cannot set up for it as quickly as the women were.
Well, I'm excited to see Titus Nicholson for Defiant Racing take on this track here at the Guatemalan Open downhill. He put down a 2:23 yesterday. Yeah, Nicholson keeping it smooth there off the top. Lots of technical maneuvers to come. And we'll see what he can do, Drew, as he dives into the most technical bit of this track.
Titus is always one of my favorite people to watch because he's all in on everything. It can either be a spectacular, amazing clearing of a section, or it could be a spectacular crash.
Well, he is clean so far, opting not to pre-jump off the edge of that and drop straight over it. Yeah, and it's been a challenging year for Titus. He had an injury at the very beginning of the season at round one of the downhill southeast at the Trials Training Center, which seems like ages ago, but he's building back into his fast and loose form. Best B-roll on Instagram as well if you guys don't follow Titus. Pretty smooth through those berms, Drew. See what he's got off this last drop.
He's setting up pretty quick.
Yeah, he's got the elbows tucked, sprinting down towards the line. Nicholson, he'll go second, a 2:22.54, so he ends up in second place right now behind the Guatemalan. Quezada, as we take a look at this line from Nicholson, kept it real tidy, considering how loose Titus can get.
That's right.
Well, here's Jack Peterson. He's got a little bit of body to his hair, trying to bring some attitude to this race run here in Guatemala. And he's already pulling lines, going beside that first jump. Huge whip on the second one. And this is a rider, Drew, that's really just been building confidence. As Peterson looking right at home, making short work of that stair-step section. A guy that really put in the work on the Southeast circuit this year.
100%. He's definitely got more consistent, too, with his riding. He's less unpredictable, and he's just getting his skills more and more polished with every race he enters. Triple.
Oh, I think I just saw a triple, yeah, Peterson. Pulling up, tripling into that rhythm section. And he's on this GT downhill bike that he got through Win Masters in the privateer program that Win has been putting on for the past couple years. So I know Peterson's so stoked to have a solid ride. And, I mean, he's really earned it. The series overall champion at Downhill Southeast, you can see why. Dude has tons of skills, took a win on the Eastern States Cup in Killington. And let's see if he can put it into the top 5 today here in Guatemala. Peterson going to sprint it across the line. It's a 2:16. So 3.8, nearly 4 seconds into the green. That would have been good enough for 4th place yesterday, Drew. So Peterson looking like the racing is heating up today.
That's our new hot seat rider. Let's see how long he can hold that hot seat.
Well, Pablo Andres Aguilar Omodeo is certainly a rider hungry to knock Peterson off that top spot. It was a 2:19 yesterday for Aguilar. And he's a rider that we have seen in the U.S. It was back in 2021. Came down and did a couple downhill southeast races. Was riding with Nico, riding with Chris Grice. But now we're down here on his home turf in Central America. So let's see what he can do. Drew, he's dropping into the tech.
Well, he appears to be riding one of Nico's Frameworks Racing frames.
Oh, I see that. And he's just thrashing it into that corner. Pulling that line off the drop. Yeah, absolutely. squashing these ones, just doubling his way through. Yeah, and I love this drone shot, but Drew, it's got to be tough to have all these bike park berms in a racetrack. I mean, these things look super hard packed, quite slippery.
Yeah, they are, and there are a few that if you don't carry speed through them, you're definitely going to have to throw a couple pedal cranks in afterwards. It's critical to time them correctly.
Well, Aguilar Omodeo not afraid of throwing pedal cranks, as we saw him just cranking into those final corners, giving it everything he's got down here in Guatemala. And, oh, just outside the top time. It's going to be a 2:16.67, only a half second off the hot seat. This section looked pretty good to me. Yeah, able to go inside. We've only seen one rider, Drew, huck it off the right. Be interested to see who else wants to take that line as we look to our next rider, Sebastian Holguin Villa, the Colombian. One of the most exciting young talents in South America. It was a 2:17 for Holguin Villa. As we take a look back at the top three, Jack Peterson still holding on to that top spot by a half second over Pablo Aguilar Omodeo. But it's all Holguin Villa right now, Drew, a rider that was out on the World Cup in his first year elite this season.
Yeah, Holguin's a very dedicated rider. He's been nothing but business the whole weekend during training. Another one for the wide line.
And he looks speeded up. Whoa. Yeah, this is looking incredible. Oh, just some inch-perfect riding. Opts for that triple as well. Oh, with a hard hit right there. Holguin Villa. He was a standout junior as well. He's the two-time Pan American junior champion with a podium on the Junior World Cup in snowshoe. That was back in the 2022 season. Drew, was a 2:17 for him in seating. Surely this looks like it could knock Peterson off the hot seat. I haven't seen him really put a tire wrong as Holguin Villa. He'll break the beam. Oh, and it's fastest by 2.78. Incredible riding there from the Colombian.
That was as close to an inch perfect run as you could have possibly asked for on this track.
Yeah, nice little setup there. Yeah, kind of gapping in there and using that air time to reposition his wheels, gain some traction. As we look to Nico Mullally, the Frameworks Racing rider, founder of that Frameworks program. He's stoked to be down here. When he gets into Central America, Rick turns into Ricardo, and he's gunning for the top spot. He's going to have to take down Sebastian Holguin Villa to do it.
Definitely the most seasoned rider out here. He's got many seasons of World Cup racing underneath his belt.
Yeah, and I love Nico's style. It's pretty compact. It's pretty efficient, really. No wasted movement, but displacing some Guatemalan dirt in that section, creating a little avalanche, just letting those Maxxis tires dig in. See what Mullally does here in the rhythm. Yeah, he's going to triple, Drew.
Triple, double, triple.
That was quick, man. He was so low on that rhythm section. And I see him sneaking a couple pedals in here. You were mentioning it's sneaky physical. No, Mullally.
Oh, no.
Wow, just threw it all away. And he was trying to sneak some more pedals in. Maybe that got his rhythm off just a bit. Looks like a big roller coming into that berm, too. Just mistimed that compression in the berm. And Mullally going to shut it down, but the fans bringing him in.
Still a crowd favorite.
Surely we're going to see that one again, Drew. Let's take a look back up at that.
Yeah, it's a shame. I think he was pushing that front wheel, and he just found the softest spot that you could have possibly done that in.
Yeah, it looks like he caught air into it. Just he thought his wheels were on the ground, so he went to wade in, and that was all she wrote. We've still got another Frameworks rider in the field, though, our top-seeded rider, Acer Vermette. We're going to look to Camilo Sanchez Salazar right now, the Colombian for Chiguero Extremo. Drew, this is a rider we saw competing at the Fox US Open earlier this season.
This is also a teammate of Sebastian Holguin.
Wow, it almost looked like he was going to gap that entire drop. He landed dangerously close to the end and just Salazar extremely active on the bike. It was a 2:16 for him in seating. That time has already gone by.
That was quick through the chute, Will.
Well, looks like the Colombian is on one right now. He was dangerously close to that big rock slab in the chute. Oh, and he's scrubbing it through this rhythm section, just doubling everything. And these bike park berms, will Camilo be able to get through it? That's the berm we just saw Mullally go down, and and he was late on that turn, but manages to hold it. Does he have a flat? He's wild.
No, there's definitely air in those tires, Will.
Oh, yeah, Sanchez holding it together, just getting super loose in those berms. Is this our new hot seat rider? No, second place, 2:15.26. So that 2:15 barrier, getting hard for these riders to break. And yeah, Drew, it was a quick run right through here. Able to break loose. Heads up, spectators, we've got loose rocks on track with 2 more riders to go. Tyler Irvin, our second fastest rider in seating. It was a 2:14.45 for Irvin yesterday. And Drew, a guy that's he's been around the world, getting some good experience. He's going to have to call upon all that experience to knock Sebastian Hogan-Villa off the hot seat right now.
That's right. He's got some World Cup experience underneath his belt. And he's another rider that he's been polishing his riding. He's just been getting more and more consistent. The more he's on the bike, the better he gets.
Yeah, swerving Irvin, a big, lanky guy. And I liked that line, Drew. That was clean. Went into that section with a purpose. And he's got world-class speed.
I saw less dust kicking up from him than any of the other riders.
Yeah, absolutely. Getting into these berms now, was inside on that first one. Yeah, putting some desperation pedal strokes in there. A guy that's, he saw a podium at the IXS Cup in Winterberg, Germany. Was in the semifinals twice in World Cup competition this year with a 36th place in snowshoe. And Irvin, he's letting it all hang out. Will he be able to topple the Colombian out of the hot seat? Here is Tyler Irvin. Yes, he goes fastest. It's a 2:10, Drew. That's incredible. 2 seconds faster than Asa Vermette's time from yesterday.
Well, he's definitely on the podium at this point in the race.
Yeah, that's right. Tyler Irvin guaranteed no worse than second place today. A beautiful run through there. And here's your top-seeded rider, Asa Vermette from Frameworks Racing, a 2:12.33. He's going to have to shave 2 seconds off that, Drew, if he wants to take Tyler Irvin off the top spot. Sebastian Hogan-Villa still in second place with Camilo Sanchez Salazar in third.
This young man has never ceased to amaze us, so let's see how this goes.
Oh, yeah, Vermette never one to let off the gas on his downhill bike. It's such a pleasure to watch. Oh, just throwing the Frameworks rig.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, no, and Vermette couldn't. That could have been bad, but Vermette with the cat-like reflexes, Drew, that crash was one of those that just seemed to keep on going.
He seemed like he was crashing about 2 turns before he finally hit the side of the course.
And an incredible recovery. So glad to see that Asa's all right and dodged that one. But wow, he was on another level, Drew. That pace looked pretty incredible, but obviously it was over the limit of what was to be had today here in Guatemala.
Well, at least he showed us what he had to offer on a course like this during his seating run.
And there he goes, giving it up to the crowd at the Guatemala Open. Asa Vermette still finished up in 8th place. Always love a good stopping.
Nice showmanship
and
there.
He's got a lot more races to come.
All right, let's see how this happened. A little off balance there.
Wow, gapped Oh my God. Well, I don't know how he planned to ride that, Drew. Honestly, he came into that compression so hard there was nowhere to go but up. And Tyler Irvin's all smiles here on top of your open men's podium, taking the win here at the Guatemala Open downhill. Second place, Sebastian Holgun Villa from Chiguaro Extremo. The Colombian hanging on to second place, and his teammate Camilo Sanchez Salazar rounds out our podium in third place.
On track walk, I was really excited. Like, I knew it was going to be super hard in some sections, but I like races like that where it's more challenging and not so much just like who can let off the brakes the most. It's been really good challenge and super fun as well.
'23 Guatemala Open in the books. It was an exciting weekend of racing. On behalf of myself and the entire Gravity Co-op, we want to thank you for supporting Central American Downhill. That wraps up this year's Race Replay Show, and we look forward to seeing you again in 2024.